three major makeup brands. One on the luxury side, Dior, one mid-range, MAC Cosmetics, and one affordable brand, Elf Beauty. And our goal is very simple. We want to understand what influences consumer choices across these different price points. And we want to assess consumer perception by identifying the strengths, weaknesses, and unique brand attributes of each of the makeup brands. We are viewing these aspects through the lens of the consumer and gaining valuable insights into how they perceive these brands. And we are really trying to explore the factors that influence the purchasing decisions. It involves examining aspects such as product quality, value for money, ethics, and innovativeness, which you'll see by the questions that we ask on the survey. And by understanding these factors, we can gain a better grasp of what drives consumers to choose one brand over another. And so now moving on, I just wanted to give you a quick review of our Qualtrics page. So this is how starts our introductory statement, and so the questions we asked about a few questions about each of the brands. So first we want to ask how familiar they are with the brand and how they would rate the product range for that specific brand, how they would rate the value for money and the quality of the products in terms of pigmentation, longevity, packaging, and as well as asking about the ethics and how consumers think ethics plays a role into their decision-making process, and as well as innovation, introducing unique products or concepts, as well as ease of use. And we asked the same questions for the three different brands. And lastly, we have our demographic section asking their age, their gender, as well as highest level of education. And now I'm going to hand it off to Mandy to go over chi-square and data analysis.
Hey, Yasmin. So I will be starting off the analysis of the chi-square results. So the chi-square statistics essentially offer insight into the demographic variables, which in this case are age, gender, and basically brand familiarity of your back and health. And the p-values for all 9 of our tests were greater than 0.05, which indicates a lack of statistically significant differences between the expected, which is what we would expect to see if there was no association between the two variables, and observed counts, which is our actual outcomes. So because the p-values were greater than 0.05, we cannot reject the null hypothesis. The main differences that we do see between the expected and observed counts are simply due to chance. And so for this very first one, starting with Dior, we see that age and brand familiarity, gender and brand familiarity, and education and brand familiarity have no significant effect because the chi-square p-values, as I said before, results from all much greater than 0.05, as you can see in these tables. And so again, this illustrates that age, gender, and education do not factor into how familiar individuals are with these products. And then moving on to MAC on the next slide. Similarly, the MAC age and brand familiarity and education and brand familiarity have no significant association with the p-value what is required to reject the null hypothesis. Something we did find interesting with gender and brand familiarity is that it also has no significant association between the p-value was 0.057, but that is just above the threshold. So this suggests that there may be a case where there is some association between whether someone identifies as male, female, or non-binary, and how familiar they are with. But unfortunately, the association is not significantly strong enough to be considered statistically significant. Therefore, again, age, gender, and education have no impact on how familiar. And then lastly, for Elf Beauty, like Dior and MAC, demographics have no relationship with the brand familiarity. And based on our results for all three brands, we believe it would be helpful to conduct further research with a larger sample size to see if we can observe some statistically significant connections. But unfortunately, we do not see it for that kind of test. And now we'll pass it on to Efrain, who will discuss t-tests.
Thanks, Mandy. When looking at the comparative t-test results between Dior and MAC, we found that 3 semantic differentials had statistically significant results, including product range, quality, and innovation. We found that MAC consistently outperformed Dior for product range. The mean differences for the semantic differential was negative 1.2, and the confidence interval was entirely below 0, which shows MAC's superiority in this area. The t-value of negative 4.3 indicates a large difference in product grades between MAC and Dior. For quality, we observed the opposite, where Dior actually emerged as the preferred choice with a t-value of positive 2.2 and a mean difference of 0.525. And lastly, for innovation, MAC was again viewed as superior with a mean difference of negative 0.625 and a t-value of negative 2.2. For Dior and ELF, we compared and we found that there was more statistically significant findings. Our data reveals a consistent trend that Dior receives lower product range ratings compared to ELF, with a mean difference of negative 0.825. ELF is viewed as having larger product range than Dior. The t-value was negative 2.4, which shows that these results are significant. In terms of value, ELF continues to receive higher ratings with a mean difference of negative 1. However, when it comes to quality, Dior is viewed as better quality. Our findings show that respondents consistently rated Dior higher, with a mean difference of positive 1.1 and a t-value of 3.6. For ethics, also ELF came out on top over Dior with a mean difference of negative 0.85 and a t-value of negative 2.4. For MAC and ELF, there were only 2 statistically significant variables, value and ethics. Diving into value, MAC has a mean difference of negative 0.85 and a confidence interval range below 0, along with a t-value of negative 2.8. These results highlight a clear preference for consumers to choose ELF over MAC for value. The same trend continues for ethics, with MAC being perceived as less ethical, and this is supported by a t-value of negative 2.2 and a mean difference of negative 0.75. Notably, our ease of use semantic differential did not appear as statistically significant when compared to any of these other cosmetic brands.
Okay, and now for our linear regression analysis. So connect the linear regression analysis to basically understand which attributes contributed to the most to the mean ranking, essentially illustrating which specific semantic differences are the most important for the overall brand. And again, for our regression analysis, we remove the innovativeness semantic differential, leaving product range, value for money, quality, ethics, and ease of use. And as you'll see, our results indicated that all t-values are statistically significant with t-value less than 0. And so starting with Dior, looking at the coefficients and the t-values, ethics seems to be the most important attribute to Dior's mean with a coefficient of 0.240. Additionally, we learned that quality is the least important attribute with a coefficient of 0.3 and the lowest t-value of 4.146. And the rest of the attributes fall somewhere in between those 2 ends. With, again, like I said, ethics at the top as the most important and quality at the bottom. And moving on to MAC. Unlike Dior, the most important attribute to MAC's mean is value for money with a coefficient of 0.232. And the attribute least important to MAC's mean is product range with a coefficient of 0.146 and a t-value of 3.9. So again, overall, value for money contributes the most meaningfully to MAC's mean, and product range contributes the least meaningfully. And lastly, moving on to ELF. ELF really differs from Dior in the sense that quality contributes most heavily to its with a strong coefficient of 0.250 and a t-value of 9.21. And then again, in stark contrast to math, value for money with a coefficient of 0.110 is the least important attribute to LC. And again, while still highly significant, you'll see that its t-value with a p-value of 0.002 is slightly less significant than those of the other attributes, but again, still highly significant. And moving on, I'll quickly show our snake diagram, which visually shows the means of each attribute for each brand, which means it's the means across all survey respondents for each semantic control. And we see that 3 brands, all of them see that quite a bit of variation. Now I will pass it on to Han with the concluding statement.
Thank you, Mandy. So for the conclusion, we can see that findings from the data analysis show distinct consumer perceptions between the 3 brands without strong demographic influence. The chi-square and cross-tabulation indicate no significant association between demographic variables and brand familiarity, and that suggests widespread recognition across different user profiles. Meanwhile, the t-test revealed non-random significant difference in attributes between the brand. For instance, ELF is perceived to have a wider product range, better value for money, more ethical practice, and greater innovation compared to Dior, with all difference being significant. Dior, on the other hand, is perceived to have higher quality products with significantly difference. For ease of use, ELF is more favored. The overall mean perception slightly favor ELF, but the difference is not statistically significant. The managerial findings from the regression analysis and snake diagram indicate that for Dior, ethics and ease of use are the most influential factors, suggesting a focus on these areas could enhance their brand image. For example, marketing campaigns should focus on your commitment to ethical practice and user-friendly design to leverage these strengths. MAC, on the other hand, they are strongly perceived about the value for money and quality, indicating a price quality marketing strategy may be beneficial, possibly by showcasing the product durability and effectiveness in comparison to price point. In contrast, ELF product quality and ease of use are the most significant, and effort to maintain high standards in these attributes could reinforce its market position. Strategy may include investing in enhancing product performance or communicating the ease of use of ELF product. Across all brands, it is important to note that while certain attributes are not the most significant to brand perception, these attributes should not be neglected as they still contribute to overall brand perception. So it is advisable that the brand come up with a balanced approach that does not compromise on the lesser but still significant attributes. Last but not least, for MBA students like us in aspiring management position in the future, this exercise provides practical learnings where we study each brand's strengths and weaknesses as perceived by the consumer. And this can guide managerial decision in marketing strategy, product development, and brand positioning. And that's it for our presentation. Thank you for your listening, and your questions are welcome.
Hi, we are Group 7 and we will be doing our SWOT analysis comparing Macs and PCs. In today's day and age, there are many options when deciding what computer you're going to invest based on consumer preferences, knowledge of how well the computer itself has conveyed its products to the public. In this integrative exercise, our team is interested in understanding more about how consumers like yourself view your technology options that are currently available in the market. And two of the leading companies in the industry, Apple, creating Mac computers, and Windows, creating PC computers, wanting to understand various factors that consumers use to gauge their purchase decisions. Throughout our analysis, our team decided to focus on the concerns that consumers have when looking at their technology options. In our survey, we decided to evaluate semantic differential by 4 dimensions that include efficiency, controllability, modernization, price, and innovative models, and overall reliability. By looking at our data, we were able to infer the different impacts that Windows and Apple have had on consumers throughout their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats facing each of the two companies. We use different models such as linear regression modeling, regression analysis, and price break tests to uncover patterns in relationship to the data.
So here is the overview of each of the semantic differential by 4 dimensions. For the next 5 slides, we will be discussing about efficiency in the Mac versus the PC. We'll also be discussing whether each people find it modern or old-fashioned. We'll also go through whether the Mac or the PC would continue innovating or continue to stagnate. We'll be going through as well the costs, whether the Mac and the PC are expensive or not. And finally, we'll be talking about how reliable Mac or the PC is.
One of the semantic differentials that we looked at in our analysis was the efficiency of both Mac and PC computers. With that, we found that almost the majority of the public found that both Mac and PC computers were efficient. But both, with most of the votes coming in, were slightly less than the highest level of efficiency. With that being said, Mac did come out ahead, as the PC computers did have some votes for it being an inefficient computer. The next semantic differential that we looked at was price, if the computer was viewed as expensive or inexpensive. In this case, PCs were again across the board, with the majority of survey takers viewing the computer as a middle ground, while the Mac computer was reviewed as a majority expensive to slightly less than the highest level of being expensive. With that being said, PC computers have a little bit more diversification in price than Mac computers in the end. Another semantic differential that we looked at was if the computer was viewed as innovative or stagnant. In this case, a majority of our survey takers were in the middle ground for PC computers, while Mac computers were viewed across the board. Mac computers did have a majority say that they were innovative, but there was one vote that said the computer was stagnant. While, on the other hand, PC computers did not have any stagnant votes, and the majority were innovative or slightly less than the highest level of innovation. Another semantic differential that we looked at in our analysis was if the computers were viewed as modern or old-fashioned. In this case, Mac computers were viewed as extremely modern, with very little to no old-fashioned use. On the other hand, PC computers are viewed across the board, as they had some survey takers that viewed the computer as modern and some that viewed it in the middle, but it is to note that there were no survey takers that viewed the computer as old-fashioned. And another semantic differential that we looked at was reliability, if the computer was viewed as reliable or unreliable. In both cases, the computers were viewed across the board and had a lot of diversification in the results. I'll leave it there.
So after comparisons that we've done, we can confirm that many people find the PCs to be inexpensive. It doesn't cost too much. However, the innovation aspect of the PC needs some work, and some have reported that the security issues involved with the PC needs improvement. But overall, PCs are known to be reliable. For the Mac, they have been known to be innovative, and many consumers actually prefer Macs over PC. They have great security and less cybersecurity attacks or hacking happens. However, many people consider Macs to be overpriced, so they're more on the expensive side. And after doing some statistics, people have reported that they are very satisfied with the Mac that they own. So,
looking at our regression analysis for Mac computers, we are able to see that the R is equivalent to 0.190, which would indicate that there is a weak positive correlation between the independent variables and dependent. The R squared demonstrates that approximately 36% of the variability in the dependent variable is able to be explained through the independent variables, and would ultimately suggest that there is a moderate level of explanatory power. With the coefficient standard error being 0.833, the coefficient of variation suggests that the precision of the estimated coefficient in its lower value indicates a greater precision. In the end, the coefficient estimates are reasonably precise. Looking at a regression analysis for PC computers, we are able to see that the R value is equivalent to 0.028, which would indicate that there is an incredibly weak positive correlation between the independent variables and the dependent variables in our analysis. As the R squared demonstrates that approximately 0.1% of the variability in the dependent variable is able to be explained through the independent variables, and would ultimately suggest that there is an incredibly low level of explanatory power. With the coefficient standard error being 3.010, the coefficient of variation suggests that there is an incredibly high level of variability or uncertainty in the estimated coefficient. In the end, our regression model with these values suggests that there is an extremely weak and likely insignificant relationship between the independent and dependent variables. Lastly, looking at the t-test, we are able to see that in the paired sample t-test, there is an indication that there is a non-chance for the features as it is a negative correlation. When looking at the means of the semantic differentials in efficiency, modernization, price, innovation, and reality, there is a non-chance. With a positive correlation in standard deviation, one variable shows a greater variability. The other variable will also tend to show a greater variability, and that works both ways.
So in conclusion, some generalizations from management are that need for both companies to maintain success rather than just rely on one-time success period or one successful brand. Stagnation does not allow any companies to stay in business. Therefore, price reduction in many cases is only a temporary solution to a bigger problem, especially with companies successful already. Many consumers buy PCs because they are cheaper, but that does not mean PCs are more successful and efficient compared to Macs. Brand equity holds significant importance as it enhances the perception and value that is attributed to the brand as consumers. A PC brand with inadequate performance and weak security software, despite being inexpensive, risks tarnishing its brand reputation. To mitigate those risks, PC brands should concentrate on customizing brand features superior to distinct market segments, thereby avoiding saturation of similar products fulfilling identical needs. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. We're group 4, and today we will be presenting our semantics research theory behind Toyota. I'm Nina, and in my group we have cross-referencing. A little brief background. We already knew that we had our eyes set on studying the automobile industry, but specifically, we didn't know what we could study. By looking into the market, we observed that four-door sedans have gained popularity relative to major traditional brands in the automobile industry. We were interested in understanding more about how consumers view the two widely recognized manufacturing brands of sedans, Honda and Toyota. Honda and Toyota are two of the most prominent Japanese automotive manufacturers, renowned for their commitment to quality, innovation, and reliability in the automobile industry. Honda, which was founded in 1946, is celebrated for its engineering excellence and pioneering spirit, and offering a diverse range of automobiles, motorcycles, and power equipment, which are all known for their performance, efficiency, and advanced features. Toyota, which was established in 1937, is recognized for its extensive lineup of vehicles including sedans, SUVs, trucks, and hybrids. The strong emphasis on sustainability and cutting-edge technology. Both the brands have earned a lot of loyal customers worldwide, driven by their unwavering dedication to delivering exceptional vehicles to cater to the diverse needs and preferences of their consumers.
The way we collected our data through distributing qualitative surveys of classmates, peers, family, and friends. The survey provided a brief background about our research, followed by a product related questionnaire. We would then have them rate the semantic scale for each product based on first, size, whether the sedan is spacious or compact. Second, cushion comfort, whether the cushions are soft or hard. Third, transportability, whether the sedans are portable or expensive. Fourth, fuel density, whether they have low FTP or high FTP. Fifth, steering position, whether they have low or high precision. And lastly, performance, whether they have low or high horsepower. Then we answered the survey with a quick interactive questionnaire about age, gender, and education level. So starting with the chi-square test. Our first analysis was the chi-square test. We examined bivariate relationships between variables measured on these scales and the cross-type addition and chi-square test statistics. Here, in both cases, none of the p-values are less than 0.05. Therefore, we do not have enough evidence to present the null hypothesis that there is no relationship between age group and constant variability of both Honda and Toyota sedans at the 0.05 sigma percent. Next, if we look at gender-based product familiarity, we face a positive conclusions Neither the Pearson chi-square test nor the likelihood ratio test yield statistically significant results of p greater than 0.05, indicating that there is not enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis of independence between gender and popularity. However, for zero students, the Pearson chi-square test does yield a statistically significant result of p equaling 0.033, as does the likelihood ratio test, p being 0.0242, suggesting that there may be a relationship between gender and popularity to Pearson bands. For Honda, there are significantly more observed cases of females being slightly familiar with on-feelings than expected. This suggests that females might have a stronger inclination toward being slightly familiar with on-feelings compared to males. Conversely, there are significantly fewer observed cases of males being slightly familiar with on-feelings than expected. This indicates that males might be less inclined to be slightly familiar with on-feelings compared to females. There are more observed cases of individuals who prefer not to disclose their gender being widely familiar with on-feelings than expected. However, the difference is not as large as in the case of females being slightly familiar. Further, there are significantly more observed cases of females being slightly familiar with Taylor's men than expected, suggesting a potential preference among females for being slightly familiar with Taylor's. There are significantly fewer observed cases of males being slightly familiar with Taylor's men than expected. This indicates a similar pattern to Hans fans, where males might be less inclined to be slightly familiar with Taylor's fans compared to females. In both slightly and very familiar categories, individuals prefer not to disclose their gender, so fewer observed cases than expected. This suggests that this group might not be as inclined to be familiar with Taylor's fans compared to the other gender groups. So for education level versus popularity, in both cases, none of the p-value is less than 0.05. Therefore, we do not have evidence to reject the null hypothesis that there is no relationship between education level and popularity for Honda and Taylor's fans at the 0.05 standard level.
Well, now when we did the paired t-statistics, the t-tests indicate a non-chance of p less than 0.05 difference between brands on the semantic differential items, where the p-value associated with the test is less than 0.05. According to the t-test, the semantic differential item performance is the only one where the result indicates a non-chance of p is less than 0.05. Difference between Honda and Toyota sedans. This means that there is a statistically significant difference in perceived performance between the two brands, with Honda sedans being rated lower than Toyota sedans. Pair 1 size, there is no statistically significant difference in the perceived size between Honda and Toyota sedans, as indicated by the p-value of 0.879. For pair 2, there is also no statistically significant difference in the cushion and in the cushion comfort between Honda and Toyota. And similarly, there is no statistically significance in the perceived price between the two brands, because the P is 0.335. And then for fuel efficiency, we see P is equal to 0.416, where it's also insignificant. And then for pair 5, steering position is also insignificant because it's 0.825, 0.824. And then pair 7, the overall mean comparison between Honda and Toyota sedans show a tendency for Honda sedans to be rated slightly lower than Toyota sedans. Thus, performance is the only one that seems to be significant between the two brands, with Honda sedans being rated lower, and overall the P score is 0.003. And since the p-value for the overall mean comparison between Honda and Toyota is greater than 0.05 at 0.187, we conclude that there is no statistically significant difference in the overall mean rating between the two brands. Therefore, there is not a non-chance difference between brands on the means of the semantic differential items. Based on these comparisons for Honda sedans, the items that seem to weigh the most in means are fuel efficiency and steering position, as well as performance. Then when we move on to the regression analysis, Looking at regression analysis, both models for Honda and Toyota sedans have a high R-square values, indicating that the predictors collectively explain a large portion of the variance in the dependent variable, which are the means for Honda and Toyota. The ANOVA results also show that the regression models are highly significant, suggesting that the predictors have a significant impact on the dependent variable. And in terms of correlations for both brands, size, price, fuel efficiency, and fuel precision have positive and significant effects on the lead rating, indicating that higher ratings in these attributes are associated with higher overall ratings in cars. Performance also has a positive effect, but it is comparatively smaller than other predictors. And then lastly is our snake diagram. Based on our snake diagram, we notice that Toyota sedans tend to lean more towards the right of cost metrics compared to Honda, except in fuel efficiency, as indicated by the purple line being above the blue for the most part in the graph, and also fuel efficiency, if you look at the blue line being above the Toyota line. Toyota has a harder cushion comfort, much greater performance, a bit more expensive, slightly more spacious, slightly higher precision steering, but less fuel efficiency. Whereas Honda has a softer cushion comfort, weaker performance, a bit more affordable, slightly compact, slightly weak precision steering, but greater fuel efficiency. And now with Asaf active also who will summarize our results.
Good. So now to summarize the results. First, the chi-square test revealed no significant relationship between product definition and demographic data across age groups and gender for Honda and Toyota sedans. Second, the t-test indicates significant differences between Honda and Toyota sedans on semantic differential attributes of size, price, fuel efficiency, steering precision, and performance, with performance being the most significant factor between the two things. And third, the regression analysis demonstrated that size, price, fuel efficiency, and steering position are important attributes influencing the mean rating for Honda and Toyota sedans, with size being the most significant predictor for overall satisfaction. And so I'll pass it on to Amina for conclusion.
Okay, so based on our analysis that we did, including the high-test, t-test, and regression analysis, it consistently indicates significant differences between Honda and Toyota sedans across various attributes such as performance and semantic differential rating. These differences suggest distinct brand perspectives among consumers, which can inform many data decisions regarding product development, market strategy, and marketing. Understanding these differences can help guide managers in tailoring their offerings and messages to better meet department teaching expectations of their target audience. Ultimately, enhancing competitiveness commercially in the automotive industry. Thank you.
Any questions?
First of all, you can see when you, the difference between Toyota and Honda, are on the return. So, not sure there are a huge difference between Toyota and Honda. I also, as I'd like to find that all the traffic so much of this diagram shows you much more body that you see. And you can make the same diagram better by what we call the error bar. But around these points, that the calculator you can see one is higher than the other, but if the companies in the world overlap, then you have to see Going to traffic, over the audience. And I read it. But each 15 minutes. So far, it's very good.
Or is this McDonald's sauce? Chili sauce, like chili sauce. The fuck? You're gonna barbecue? I wasn't sure which one. What the fuck is this? Chili sauce? Chili sauce. You want to try it? Maybe I'll try it. I'll definitely try it. Just remember, the two best flavors are barbecue and chili sauce. You also have any dope? Trying to connect with people in the last minute. I was trying to connect with people in that last minute why. And that's the thing that whether it's like just have a message or songs or like how different people. And they were talking about meritocracy. You know, they were talking about meritocracy. You know what it is? What? Meritocracy. Mediocrity. Mediocrity. Mm-hmm. What is it? Being average. Yeah. That's it. To be mediocre. Be like. And maybe I was looking at the wrong term. Because I'm looking at the term where mediocrity is like when you're valued through your output. Good, everything, every output. Maybe it's a different word. Okay. That's why they're both wrong. Yeah, I couldn't spell it. Mediocrity is be mediocre. Be mid. I found that. You get a charger? Sorry? You get a charger from the car? Yeah.
Hello everyone, we are team two, and we did our integrated exercise on two large grocery chains. To big box stores like Walmart and Target, and even on